My name is Julia T. Heinrich, and I'm 29 years old. I'm a project manager at a mid-sized construction firm in Charlotte, North Carolina. It is not a glamorous job, but it is steady, demanding, and honest. I work hard, I budget carefully, and until 3 months ago, I thought responsibility was the foundation of the life I was building. Then my boyfriend stood up in front of his entire family and rewrote our relationship like I was not even in the room. His name was Landon. We had been together for 2.5 years. I met him at a mutual friend's barbecue in the spring of 2023, one of those warm afternoons where the grill smoke hangs in the air and everyone seems easier to trust. Landon was funny, charming, creative, always talking about his dream of launching his own graphic design business. He had big plans, big language, and just enough confidence to make me believe he was only one opportunity away from becoming the man he kept describing. 6 months into dating, he moved into my apartment after his lease ended. He said it made financial sense, while he got his business off the ground. I believed him. I told myself that was what love looked like. You support someone while they build. You carry a little extra weight because someday, when they stand beside you. But the business never really took off. There were always reasons. The market was saturated. Clients were flaky. He needed better software, better equipment, a better laptop, more time, more patience, more belief. So I covered rent, utilities, groceries, his car insurance, his phone bill. He contributed occasionally when freelance money came in. Maybe 200 here, 300 there, but mostly I carried us both. I called it temporary because I needed it to be temporary. The dinner happened on a Saturday in late September. Landon's family lived about 40 minutes away in Huntersville. His father had just retired from the county clerk's office after 32 years, and his mother wanted everyone together to celebrate properly. His parents were there, along with his older sister Jenna and her husband Kyle. I should have noticed the signs before we arrived. Landon was on his phone the entire drive, texting, scrolling, smiling at something he would not show me. When I asked if everything was okay, he said, "Yeah, fine," without looking up. At the house, he walked in ahead of me, did not wait, did not hold the door. I was carrying a bottle of wine and a card for his father, and the door nearly closed in my face. Dinner was tense from the start. The table was beautiful. Cloth napkins, good dishes, pot roast, mashed potatoes, roasted carrots, fresh rolls. His mother kept asking about my work, about the hospital renovation downtown my team was managing. I answered politely. Landon barely spoke. He pushed food around his plate and kept checking his phone under the table. "Landon, honey," his mother said gently, "put the phone away." He sighed and set it face down, but his eyes kept darting toward it. Halfway through dinner, his father raised his glass. 32 years at that office, and now I'm finally free. But this family is still the most important thing. I'm grateful all of you are here. Everyone clinked glasses. I reached mine toward Landon's, and he pulled his back just slightly. Not much. "Enough," Jenna noticed. I saw her eyebrows pull together. Then Landon's mother smiled at us. "So you two, any big plans coming up? You have been together quite a while now." I was about to make a light joke, something easy, something safe, but Landon set his fork down hard enough that it clinked against the plate. "Actually," he said, voice sharp and loud, "we are not together." The room went silent. I turned to him. "What?" He looked at me like I was a stranger. Cold, detached, almost bored. "We broke up weeks ago," he said. "I told you it was over, and you keep acting like we are still dating." For a moment, my brain refused to process the words. We lived together. We had arrived in the same car. I had made him pancakes the Sunday before. We had slept in the same bed 4 nights earlier. "Landon," I said carefully, "what are you talking about? We did not break up." "Yes, we did," he said louder, turning toward his family. "I tried to be nice about it. I tried to let her down easy, but she will not accept it. She keeps texting, showing up, acting like everything is normal when I have told her multiple times that we are done. His mother's hand went to her chest. His father's face darkened. Kyle looked uncomfortable. Jenna stared between us like she was watching two versions of reality collide. "That is not true," I said, and I hated how my voice shook. "We live together. I drove you here. We were together last night." "See?" Landon said, gesturing toward me like I had proved his point. "This is exactly what I mean. She cannot accept it. She makes everything difficult." The humiliation hit like cold water. I looked around the table hoping someone would say this was insane. No one did. So I stood. My chair scraped harshly against the floor. "I do not know what this is," I said, looking straight at Landon. "But I am not doing it. I am not sitting here while you lie to everyone." He opened his mouth. I did not wait. I walked out of the dining room, through the living room, and out the front door. Behind me, I heard his mother say something, then chairs moving, then Jenna calling my name. I kept walking. In the car, my hands shook so badly I could barely start the engine. My phone buzzed. Jenna texted. "What just happened?" I did not answer. I drove back to Charlotte, replaying every word. Had I missed something? Had we had a conversation I somehow forgot? Was I losing my mind? No, we had not broken up. This was something else. Something planned. When I got back to the apartment, I did not turn on the lights. I just sat on the couch in the dark, staring at Landon's laptop on the coffee table, his shoes by the door, his jacket on the chair, his half-empty water glass near the sink. All the ordinary evidence of a shared life suddenly looked like proof of how foolish I had been. There had been no breakup, no final fight, no conversation, nothing. And yet he had sat at that table and painted me as some delusional woman chasing a man who had already left. I did not sleep. By sunrise, grief had become structure. Monday morning, I called the landlord. I explained I would be breaking the lease and paid the penalty. $1,200. It hurt, but freedom has a price. And compared to staying in a home where someone could rewrite my reality, it felt cheap. Then I called the insurance company and removed Landon from my car insurance policy. He had been on it for a year and a half because his rate was terrible and mine was better. The savings showed immediately. On my lunch break, I went to the bank and closed the joint checking account, the one I had opened so he could contribute easier. In 6 months, he had contributed maybe $300 total. The rest, thousands, had been mine. The clerk asked, "Are you sure?" I said, "Completely." Then came the small cuts. Wi-Fi password changed. Netflix canceled. Spotify family plan canceled. Emergency credit card canceled. The same card Landon had quietly run up with restaurants, online shopping, grooming products, and design software he swore was essential. Tuesday through Thursday, I packed. Clothes, electronics, kitchen equipment, books, furniture I had bought. I photographed everything because after what Landon did at dinner, I no longer trusted him not to invent another story. I found a smaller one-bedroom near my office. Not fancy, but clean. Mine. I signed the lease Wednesday and moved Thursday with help from a coworker named Denise, who asked no questions and lifted boxes like a saint. I did not tell Landon. He was not there anyway. He had apparently been staying with a friend, according to one text he sent Tuesday afternoon. "I'm getting my stuff this weekend," I replied once. "Take what is yours. I'm gone." That was when his tone changed. "We need to talk. You are being childish. You cannot just leave like this. Where are you?" "This is my apartment too," I replied one final time. "Your name was never on the lease. I paid the penalty. Sign a new lease with the landlord if you want it. Otherwise, be out by the end of the month." Then I blocked him. For 2 weeks, I buried myself in work. Hospital renovation proposals, budget reviews, late nights at the office. I avoided the Italian restaurant where we had our first date. I avoided the coffee shop on Trade Street where Landon used to sit for hours and call it networking. I told people we split, did not work out, moving on. The truth was, I felt hollow, betrayed. used, humiliated, stupid for not seeing it sooner. Then, one Thursday evening in mid-October, I ran into Jenna at the grocery store near my new place. She froze when she saw me. "Julia," she said carefully. "Hey." She glanced around the aisle. "Can we talk outside?" I should have said no. I did not. We met near her silver Honda in the parking lot. She leaned against the driver's door, arms crossed tight, face pale with shame. "I need to tell you something," she said. "About that dinner. About Landon. I would rather not rehash it." "No," she said quickly. "You need to hear this." I waited. Landon lied. About all of it. "You did not break up. He planned that whole thing." My stomach tightened. "Why?" Jenna swallowed. "Because he met someone else. A woman named Troyelle. He has been seeing her for about a month. Maybe longer. He wanted a clean exit strategy. He wanted people to think you were the problem so nobody would ask why he left after you supported him for so long." For a second, I could not breathe. "He set me up in front of your whole family." "I know," Jenna whispered. "None of us knew he was going to do that." She told me she had overheard him on the phone in her guest room 2 nights earlier laughing. "She actually left," he had said. "Took everything and left. It is perfect. Now I do not have to feel guilty." Jenna confronted him. He admitted he had been seeing Troyelle for 5 weeks. Said he needed to control the narrative because I had the money and stability, and he did not want people thinking he used me. So he made me look obsessive. So he could look free. Jenna was crying by then. "I told him he was horrible." He just shrugged and said you would be fine because you have money. I stared at the asphalt, feeling something inside me close. "I am sorry," she said. "My parents still think you are the bad guy. Kyle does too. But I could not live with myself if I did not tell you." I thanked her. I think. Then I drove home, sat on the edge of my new bed, and processed the truth. Landon had not ended things badly. He had orchestrated my humiliation as a financial and emotional escape plan. And somehow, that made my decision easier. I did not need revenge. I had already taken away the apartment, the insurance, the accounts, the subscriptions, the credit card, the safety net. I had left him with exactly what he claimed he wanted. A life without me. For a few days, after Jenna told me the truth, I did nothing. That surprised me. A younger version of me would have called Landon immediately. I would have demanded answers, forced him to admit what he did, begged him to explain how someone could sleep beside me, eat food I paid for, let me cover his bills, then sit at a family dinner, and turn me into the villain of his exit story. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized there was no explanation that would help. People like Landon do not confess because truth matters. They confess when the lie stops working. So I stayed silent. A month later, I heard through a mutual friend that Landon and Troyelle had broken up. Apparently, Troyelle found out Landon had lied about his financial situation. He had told her he was between places by choice, focusing on his design business and living minimally. He forgot to mention that the apartment was gone because I had paid the lease penalty and moved out. He forgot to mention the car insurance, phone plan, streaming accounts, credit card, groceries, and safety net had all been mine. Troyelle did not want to become the next me. When she realized Landon expected her to cover dinners, rides, software subscriptions, and temporary help until his freelance clients appeared, things fell apart fast. I should have felt satisfied. Mostly, I felt tired. Landon tried to crawl back into mutual friend circles after that, spinning new versions of the story. First, I had abandoned him. Then Troyelle had manipulated him. Then his family did not understand him. Then everyone was against him because he was trying to find himself. But this time, the story did not spread as cleanly. Jenna started telling the truth quietly, not in a dramatic public post, not with screenshots or speeches. Just enough honesty in enough rooms. Kyle found out. One of Landon's aunts found out. Eventually, his parents heard the real version too, or at least enough of it to stop repeating his lie so confidently. I do not know what happened inside that house after that. I do know Landon bounced between friends for a while before ending up back with his parents in Huntersville. Then, in early November, he contacted me from a new number. I made a mistake. I see that now. Can we please talk? I miss what we had. I stared at the message for maybe 10 seconds. What we had? That phrase almost made me laugh. What we had was me paying 70% of rent while he built nothing. Me carrying groceries upstairs while he called himself an entrepreneur. Me defending him when people asked why he was not contributing. Me mistaking dependence for intimacy because I wanted to believe love meant patience. I deleted the message. Then I blocked the number. By early December, my new apartment finally started feeling like mine. It was smaller than the old one, but cleaner emotionally. No piles of Landon's clothes. No unopened bills he promised to handle. No laptop glowing on the coffee table while he pretended to work. I decorated it exactly how I wanted. Minimal. Warm lights. One good chair by the window. A framed blueprint for my first major project on the wall. Work got better too. Maybe because I had stopped spending half my energy managing someone else's chaos. My boss noticed. I got promoted to senior project manager. A 10% raise, more responsibility, and the kind of recognition that felt solid because I had earned every piece of it. When my boss told me I had shown real leadership, I almost cried in the elevator afterward, not because of the title, because someone had seen me clearly and did not need me to suffer first. I started going out again, slowly. Nothing serious. Dinner with coworkers, drinks with friends, then a date with a man named Harper, a kindergarten teacher, introduced through someone from work. He was gentle without being passive, funny without needing a stage. He paid for his own meal before I could even reach for the check. I noticed that. I hated that I noticed that. But healing is sometimes realizing what should have been normal all along. Jenna and I still text sometimes. Not often. A "how are you" here. An update there. She apologized more than once even though the lie was not hers. I told her I appreciated that she told me the truth when she did not have to. That mattered. As for Landon, I do not know what story he tells now. Maybe I am still the villain in some version. Maybe I am the cold woman who left him with nothing. Maybe I am the controlling ex who cut off support the second he stopped performing gratitude. That is fine. I learned something from that dinner. You do not have to defend yourself at every table where someone lies about you. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stand up, leave, and let the truth arrive after you. By early December, the apartment finally felt like mine. It was smaller than the old place, but cleaner in a way square footage cannot explain. No Landon shoes by the door. No unpaid bills he promised to handle. No half-finished design sketches spread across the counter, like proof of a career that never started. No one using ambition as an excuse to be carried. Just quiet. Warm lights. Coffee in the morning. My own dishes in the sink. My own blanket on the couch. A space where nobody could make me feel guilty for wanting peace. A month after Jenna told me the truth, the pieces kept falling into place without me touching them. Troyel had walked away. Landon's parents had apparently stopped paying for his version of events. Jenna was not speaking to him much. Kyle had apologized to me through her, which I appreciated but did not need. The strange thing was, once I stopped chasing answers, answers found me anyway. A mutual friend told me Landon had moved back into his childhood bedroom, saying he needed time to rebuild. I almost admired the word choice. Rebuild made it sound like something tragic had happened to him, not like he had set fire to his own life and complained about smoke damage. He tried again once from another new number. I know I hurt you. I panicked. Troyel was a mistake. Please do not throw away everything we had. I deleted that one too. Everything we had already been thrown away at his parents' dining table. By him. I kept moving forward. Work stayed busy. The hospital renovation hit a difficult phase, and for the first time in months, I felt grateful for problems that came with blueprints, budgets, and solutions. Concrete cracks could be repaired. Schedules could be adjusted. Materials could be reordered. Human betrayal was messier, but at least now it was no longer living in my apartment. Harper and I went out 3 more times. Nothing dramatic. Coffee, a walk through the park, dinner at a small Thai place where he asked real questions and listened to the answers. I told him a little about Landon. Not everything. Enough. He did not rush to play hero. He only said, "I'm sorry someone made love feel like a bill." That sentence stayed with me, because that was what it had become with Landon. A bill. Rent. Insurance. Groceries. Emotional labor. Reputation management. Patience. Forgiveness. Always due. Always unpaid. Jenna sent me a message around Christmas. Mom knows now. Dad too. I am sorry they believed him first. I stared at it for a while before replying. Thank you for telling me the truth. That was all. I did not need his parents to apologize. I did not need Kyle to understand. I did not need the whole family sitting around that same table saying they should have believed me. Maybe one day they would. Maybe not. But their belief was no longer the door to my peace. I still think about that dinner sometimes. His fork hitting the plate, the clock ticking in the kitchen, his mother's hand going to her chest, his father's protective glare, Jenna's confused eyes. Landon's voice saying we had broken up weeks ago, as if saying it loudly could make it real. It still stings. I will not pretend it does not. But walking out of that house was the best decision I made. The second best was cutting him off completely, financially and emotionally, before he could turn my kindness into another resource. Some people will light your life on fire just to stay warm. They will use you up, drain you dry, and then blame you for being empty. I am just glad I got out before I burned completely. I am glad I still had enough of myself left to walk away. And I am glad Landon showed me exactly what love is not supposed to look like. Because now I know what to avoid. Now I know what I deserve. And now, finally, I get to live a life that no one else is quietly spending for me.